What's up, everyone? Welcome to Body Activation Explorations, elbow flexion and extension in the neutral position. All that means is that you're going to be bending the elbow with the arm by your side. The first thing we're going to do is our journaling exercise. What do you currently feel in your body? Then I want you to accurately describe that feeling. Where do you feel it? How does it feel? And then how does how you feel currently affect how you move? We're going to do around 6 to 12 repetitions on each side. Make sure that each position is pain-free with zero cramping. And our controlled pace is 3 seconds up and 3 seconds down. We're looking for the position that feels the best and the motion that is the most difficult to control. So keep your eye out for that and jot it down, because that's exactly what we're going to build our exercise at the end, because it needs the most practice. We're going to start out in the standing position, and that elbow is right at your side. And you can look at this one in the mirror or just watch yourself as you're doing it. Make sure that you're taking your time if there's any cracking or popping in the elbow. Try to avoid that at all costs, and slow down around the areas where you do maybe hear some of those audible sounds, because it might be from lacking control of that point, and you want to be able to stop yourself at any point of the range. Again, we're going between around 6 to 12 repetitions just to see how one side feels compared to the other side. Does it feel similar? Does it feel more difficult to control on the way up? Or do they go up quite so far? Or do they both go as straight as the opposite side? You're just comparing it and journaling it down to make sure that we get really specific on how things start and how they end up. If you are experiencing any type of discomfort in the shoulder or the opposite side of the arm, say like the front of the elbow or the back of the elbow or even the wrist, it's something to really note, because as you're doing this, does it change? Do the repetitions make it feel better? Does it make it feel worse? All that is what we're trying to figure out. So when we're building the exercise that makes you or helps you feel better, because all of these things matter into feeling better. You want to feel safe. We're building safety with each time that we move these joints. And the differences between standing and seated and being on your back, they all matter. So as we're going through these elbow bends, the elbow stays right next to Brandon's side. Even when he's on his side, he's supporting his neck right here, and that elbow is right on the side. It's not moving front to back. The wrist is going back and forward. You're seeing the circle of that elbow as he's doing this, and you're going to get a better shot of this when he turns around. And you can see it a little bit more. He's bending the elbow. It's the same thing as when he was seated, and he's going through feeling out whether he can hold that arm in a neutral position as he's bending the elbow and straightening it. And here's a little bit better shot when we're finishing up. And it's the same thing when he's on his back. He's going to go with that left arm, bending the elbow and slowly straightening it. And if you want your elbow off the edge of a bed when you're doing this one, so the elbow is supported, but then the wrist goes off the edge of the table, sometimes people have a little bit more straightening than they do on one side than the other, or sometimes the straightening goes beyond straight. Sometimes it goes into what a lot of people call hyperextension, or past 0 degrees of extension. That may be exactly how your elbow is built. That might be a safe position for you. It'd be nice to be able to make sure that when we exercise or train that position, that you get even better at that position. So again, safely bending and straightening, and then noting exactly how you feel when you're doing that. I mean, if you ever had any type of wrist, elbow, or shoulder problem, the control of the elbow at neutral is an interesting thing to see. Now Brandon's going to the opposite side, and here's a better shot of how that elbow is just resting on the hip, and the shoulder stays in one spot as the lower arm bends on the upper arm. So how that radius and ulna are bending on the humerus. And you can see how it spins forward and up and down and back. You may have more range of motion with this, you may have less. The whole point is to make sure that it feels smooth without any clicking, popping, or cramping. Shouldn't feel achy. If it does feel achy, does it feel better as you're doing it? And here is Brandon on his stomach as he goes through. This is a little difficult to see, so I'm going to try to get a better shot of this, but he's bending the elbow and straightening the elbow. You'll be able to see this a little bit better when we get that camera shot on the opposite side. So he's still just bending the elbow, straightening the elbow with that arm right next to his hip. And when he extends, he makes sure that that arm stays right by his side with his hand off the edge. So this is really good to do off the edge of a bed or a sofa, so that you have that space for that arm to then go forward and back. And here's a great shot of this ending position. He's maintaining that shoulder stability or steadfast position, so it's not moving as that elbow just bends and straightens. And you can see the circle that the elbow creates. So it's this forward and back type motion, forward and up, and then back and up. And as you go through this, again, just focus on how all the different positions relate to each other. Which position felt the best? That's what we're looking for. So our journaling exercise to end this session is, what do you currently feel? How does it feel compared to the beginning, and accurately describe it? And then from there, how do you move now, and how did your movement change throughout this session? Now that you've found the position that is the safest and the motion that is the most difficult to control, let's build that exercise.